Aloha, everyone. Do I have any viewers? I have one viewer. Yeah, you and me. Put it on the glass or whatever. So, one viewer. This is a random, just a live feed, because I want to talk about a gentleman who I saw today on Facebook. Alright, well, you're gone. Somebody else will pick up. Oh, you know what? You can all watch it whenever you're ready. We got this. See how there's always a solution to every problem? Because there's no such thing as a problem. There's only an opportunity for fellow road dogs to come together and resolve and earn the solution from what was once perceived as a problem. Something like that. So, there is this gentleman that I watched today. I guess if you want to see him on Facebook, you can see him on my fan page. I posted him. I think it's just at symbol Morgue, M-O-R-G-U-E. He's got a reminiscent style. Can everybody hear me okay? That's one thing that a live audience comes in handy. I mean, aside from just being awesome to be talking to people and yourself, like I possibly might be doing right now. Okay, I'm going to just do this without a mic. Let's see if that works. If anybody's out there in there's my one. Okay, can you, whoever you are, because it's singular in this case. Ah, there he goes again. This is a lot of fun. So, one momento while I turn down this guy. Okay, how's the lighting? This is what you do on television and movie sets. You gotta see how you're holding up with the lighting. This is more for me than for any of you, but in the big picture, it's for all of us. So I say we need some more light. So let's get our lighting guy to, oh yeah, that's kind of special. I think that's the mark. That's what we want. So, geez, I'll just go with it. So this guy Morgue was talking about how when we're born into this world, we are immediately surrounded by, or rather the society and the rules of the society are immediately put upon us. So no one ever has the, you might say, opportunity in a very truest form to discover what they are. Here's an example of how a life form occurs on Earth, and it is that of the sea turtle. And sea turtles are born in the sand on the beach in eggs, and when they hatch, there are these little tiny nickels that all of a sudden know to go straight to the ocean. They don't wander off into the woods and say, gee, am I supposed to be here, or what's the deal? They are in touch with their Buddha nature, just like the birds that land on the branch without even a thought because they can't make a mistake. And so they are in tune with the life force that is moving all these life forms. And these life forms, because they don't have TV and whomever's in the tabloids and the mortgage to think of, they are just automatically in tune with, here's what nature needs of me, this is where I am asked to go, and in cooperation with nature, I will follow her lead, because she gives me all of this, so wherever she's leading me to is going to be fan-flippin-tastic. Earmuffs, kids, fan-fucking-tastic. So, these little, like, quarter-size war tanks go in the direction of the ocean. Meanwhile, there are dive bombers that come and, these birds, and swoop down and grab them. And then, geez, they finally make it to the water, but then there are predators that eat them up as well. Life's tough, but there is something in you that, despite the dangers, you just go where you are called. Because this is a feminine world we live in. It is a mother, and the earth as an organism is female, and it is woman, because like women of earth, who give birth to forms, both male and female, and everything in between, our planet gives birth to all the trees, and consequently the animals, and therefore us. And so her very body is like a woman's body. And that's why we call her Mother Earth, because we are all of her children that are born from her body. So when you think of the earth as feminine in nature, first, because the female gives birth to forms, even those forms that are male and think they're completely in power, when your moms used to tell you, I brought you into this world and I can take you out, that's the feminine principle. That is the goddess at work. And when you have a system where the god is over the goddess, then psychologically you're going to treat your feminine counterparts with whatever your god says is okay. However, if you have a goddess and a god in dialogue with one another, facing one another, learning from one another, recognizing the similarities within each other, and growing from and relating to one another through participation in a harmonious relationship. We are opposite, but it's like the yin and the yin-yang symbol, where you have the dark fish with the light spot in it, and you have the light fish with the dark spot in it. And that's how they can relate to each other. You can't relate to anything out of which you do not participate. And so, hey, I got a heart. Hey, heart person, thank you. Spread the word, Big Bird. This guy who has two opposable thumbs and doesn't know whether there are right now is live and would love to see more of you. But I'm happy to see you. Put it right there. Boom. Whoever you are. You are present. And that is the most important lesson here, is being present. So back to the sea turtles. Well, actually, I guess I'm done with the sea turtles, but you get the idea. They when uninhibited and allowed to just do their thing, a lot of these sea turtles go on to live these long, beautiful lives, and I've seen them in Hawaii on the sand, just there with not a care in the world, and the pace at which their world exists is completely light years slower than ours, and yet you can feel the calmness and the quality of that sea turtle's life in just absolute bliss. And it comes to the shore, but then it has a responsibility to the ocean as well, and it lives in both worlds harmoniously, but it always returns back to the ocean, because all of us came into this world through the amniotic fluid. We were born out of liquid, so we are essentially a bindu drop in the big ocean called life, or whatever you call it. You could be a winner at the game of life. So, what else would you like? Anybody have any questions? I have my whole phone set up. Will Cabras, Wells joined. Right on. Cool. Anybody have any questions, comments, compliments. I recall seeing a interview with Marilyn Manson. And this plays back to this gentleman called Morg, who is featured on my Facebook fan page. And I would encourage everyone to check him out. His message is resonant with me because I do the Smilky Mirrors character, and that mask and the voice disturbs a lot of viewers from feedback that I've received. And yet, people, once they get the, oh, that's what it's about, idea, then they realize that the message is what's important. The messenger is totally secondary, and this dude, Morg, is totally primary in the way he is conveying his message and living his truth harmoniously with his environment. And he's totally tuned in, turned on, and dropped out, or something, however that 60s term goes. Speaking of the 60s, I met this dude who was born in the 70s, and it makes sense to my brain. From London, England, and cool dude, does a cool thing with his life, and man, you know, you just click with people the more you are living in your present moment. I'll complete this thought in a moment, but that brings me back to the sea turtle thing. So what happens with a human development? Well, humans have the longest, you might say, dependency term of all the animals on this planet. Because you and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals. So let's continue this lecture on the Discovery Channel. Where was I? So, for example, that sea turtle, there is no, like, he doesn't have to go to primary sea turtle school to get in a good first grade sea turtle school to then wear like the coolest sea turtle fashion accessories. He's just like born, hey mom, this is awesome, all right, I'm out. And but because the human child is in a mode of dependency, psychological dependency, from birth till, let's say, 15, 16, whenever they decide to leave the nest and cross the threshold, or are kicked out of the nest and have to learn to fly on the way down. And it's awesome that way, because all you do is turn your fall into a voluntary act. And when you're there, you've got to have your eyes wide open. You've got to have your form just right, you know? And it transports you to a whole other dimension. And, man, it is magic. By the way, Agar Garcia. Oh, there you are. Hi, Agar. Am I pronouncing that correctly? If so, please let me know. And as my only viewer, I think, as a viewer, would you let me know if the sound is coming through okay? I got off of this thing, but I'm not sure if it ever, whatchamacallit, connected. So that would be totally groovy. So where am I? Where was I? I know where I am. In the present. So because there is this 18-year cycle, let's just say 18 years for discussion's sake, a cycle of interdependency, the child is thereby learning its parents' perceptions of the world that they live in. There's this story I heard of two gentlemen who are brothers, and one ended up in a life that has him in a life sentence in prison, and the other one is a successful attorney. And a interviewer, what do you call it, reporter, asked the brothers, independent of one another, the same question, and did not relay the answer to the other brother, their response was. But the question was, what made you become what you are? One being a successful attorney and the other being a... sound is great. Thank you, Will. Cobcroft hyphen Wells. I bet that's the slowest anyone's ever pronounced your name. But I wanted to be meticulous about it because you're meticulous with your ears to let me know that, yeah. Right on. So, where was I, Will? Or anyone? Let me think for a minute. Sea turtles, gestation, dependency, you cross the threshold, got it that time, ha ha. I bet that's the most bland anybody's ever read your comment. Got it that time. And you put even 3 exclamation points to really like drive it home. Got it that time! Ha ha. But, you know, this is the best budget we had and the best talent we could get for the price, which is priceless, naturally. Ask any mother of that of her child. So, okay, we're getting close. There was mother involved, Mother Earth. Anybody? Bueller? I kind of get on a roll, so you can call me Butta. Sea turtles. The length of the time. Okay, I'll just start with the length of the time that you're independent. You're learning your parents' perceptions of the world. That is it. So, you don't really start getting a grasp of what the world actually is to you because you have now been wrapped in this filtration system called mom and dad and all their ideas, or whomever symbolized mom and dad, pack of wolves, whatever. We're all family. And so when you go on a journey following your bliss, that's important. Not just, let me just go on a journey until something happens, because something will. But it makes it a lot easier and more fun if you're doing something that you really love, like talking to random people and losing your train of thought. I love it. It's automatic. You just do what you love, and what you are just flows seamlessly. Boom. I can feel that I am connecting with myself, which is all of you. You and I are made of the same energy. Hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, and helium, the 5 elements that make up the building blocks of the universe, are the same 5 elements that are the basic building blocks of our physical composition. So, this is religion. Religion comes from the root religio, and religio means linking back, linking the phenomenal person to a transcendent source out of which everything comes and back into which it goes. And it's a total mystery. And so if you say it is the one life in both of us, then my separate life has been linked to the one life, and therefore you and I are 2 aspects of the same energy. Just like flowers that are all white, daisies, you know, they might look alike in their general form, but when you really look at them, some are tall, some are short, some are big and round, some are a little, you know, not quite making it, but they're getting there, just like we all are. You know, and I sure as hell don't know where I'm going, but I'm certainly on my way. And so are all of you. And so you can either resist what is coming and go kicking and screaming, or you can find somebody who inspires you, or listen to the music that really, like, even if nobody else respects it, but the music you love, or the book you want to read, get it done, and do it in a way and in a place where you can discover what you might be. And you must have a room and a certain hour of day and where you don't know what was in the media that day. You don't know what you owe to anybody or anybody owes to you, but just simply a place where you can become. You know, it's that constantly coming into being, that innovating point. Like, I could say this the same way, that same inertia, you know, but it takes somebody to take that same thought and transform it into something new. Because let's take the Bible, for example. My work here is suggestive, so the Bible, written many years before, or after rather, Jesus had departed, and but risen again. So the world in which the Bible consisted of and was a little 3-layer cake universe, and it was all around the Near Eastern centers, maybe a few hundred miles in each direction. Nobody had ever heard of the Aztecs or even the Chinese for that matter. So those people weren't even considered as part of the problem to be dealt with. And so when the world changes, the religion has to incorporate the new forms of the world so that everything is inclusive, not exclusive. Because when you hold the truth to just your corner of the world and saying, we're only the right ones and everybody else is wrong, or, you know, blasphemers, whatnot, then it gives you a sense of entitlement, at least in your own imagination, of pushing people around and telling them what the rules are because you're the big cheese. But if you recognize that that big cheese, the energy that's running that so-called pompous ass, is the same energy that is running you. And you both have a heart, you both have a circulatory system, you both have a nervous system. And therefore, your physical base is comparable, and therefore your imagination, which comes out of that comparable base, leads the two of you to dream. And so you can recognize a human being anywhere you see him. So what's so damn mysterious about that? It just seems common. Okay, they're a different color. Yeah, people are different colors. They speak a different language. My God, there are so many different dialects of English alone. Everything from Texas, which I do not sound or ever sounded like this. Although I do like to say my Matthew McConaughey GPS every time I'm about to fix it and make a right turn. It says in 500 feet you're gonna make an all right, all right, all right. Anyway, I digress. But people sound different, look different. You know, a spiritual life is the bouquet of natural life, not some supernatural thing imposed upon it. So, take the Holy Grail. What is a Grail, and what is the meaning, metaphorical meaning of the Grail? A Grail is a chalice. This is messing with my jam, but hold that thought. Yeah, when something is not flowing or going the way you want it, or not really the way you want it, but a way that will help what you are be transmit itself clearer, then just change it, alter it, or alter yourself, and then everything flows. You know, with every force in nature, you can either embrace it or divert yourself from its path. But why fight it? And learn to work with nature. I'm in dialogue with that sound system because it's talking to an aspect of myself whose central concern is to speak to all of you. And so because the rhythm and the sound and the pace of that other thing was not congruent with what I'm conveying, it says, hey, attention. And that thing is alive. It's not just a speaker or a sound system. Those components were made from man, therefore man poured himself into it. And those things, if you communicate to them, instead of just treating them like objects, like we do to one another. I've been on the streets of San Francisco recently, and it was a shock to see all these beautiful people, so well groomed and well dressed, and just winners at whatever they're doing in those big tall buildings. And yet there's homeless people on the side of them at the stoplight or at the crosswalk with signs, you know, looking at them and nothing, just straight ahead. And I cannot judge them for that. Because one of the things about becoming enlightened is you automatically lose the sense or need to judge others who still sleep. So, but what it does do is it motivates me to create a live video and really connect with all of you, because there is something fundamentally wrong when we are leaving another aspect of ourselves behind. You know, people commit all kinds of atrocities and we say, there's the devil, there's the bad guy. But how are we contributing to that? Are we getting in lives that are so busy and convoluted that we now neglect our children and now they get to just be raised by either nannies, if you're lucky, other kids who might be from what you consider the wrong side of the street, gangs, and now all of a sudden you're trying to live this American dream with the house, the picket fence, the 2.5 kids, whatever that means, and you know, it's totally incongruent with, man, but when I was in high school, I wanted to be in a band, or I wanted to be a writer, or I wanted to travel the world, or whatever. So this is not intended to, what it is intended, this world which I live in only consists of things that I enjoy. So I always find it beneficial to leave out the things that would not be in it. And that's how you automatically attune your mind to the world you want to be in, is only speak of what it is you want and what it is you enjoy. Because people who are dissatisfied tend to talk about what it is they don't, blah, blah, blah. Wink, wink, get it? So, if you do, let me know, because I think I'm on par. Man, this is so, and it just leads me right back to the thought of there is something fundamentally wrong with us as a species when we see our own species and just act as though that could not be one of us, because that could easily be one of us. I have been to the depths of having absolutely nothing. I definitely know what it feels like to be hungry, to ration out your food like freaking Matt Damon on Mars, you know, growing potatoes and whatnot, in my own, by analogy. Great movie, by the way. Something about Mars, I don't know. Matt Damon can call me and bitch me out for getting it wrong. Wink, wink. So that is something that would be amazing, because you don't know that that person on the side of the street is the person whose brain has been hardwired to break formulas that will create discoveries that will not only solve the world's crises, but get us to Mars and beyond. And There is nothing wrong with this system. I will be the first to say it is functioning perfectly because it is a system created for winners and losers. So as a system created for winners and losers, this system that is as it is a working system. Now, I would never stand against any system. I'm an innovator, always. Consequently, the world that I live in, I am compelled to put upon the world what I have discovered myself to be. It's like the blade of grass, you know, every 2 weeks some kid comes along and cuts it with a lawnmower, and you think the blade of grass would say, well, for Pete's sake, what's the use? But it's that coming into being, it's that fearlessness. It's like you can cut me down and guess what? I'm back again. That is the whole death and resurrection mythology born from agricultures in Africa that before there was religion, there were mythologies that were connected to, if you were an agrarian world, your gods and goddesses were the plants, and the sisters were your the flowers were your sisters, that sort of thing. Before Christianity, there were people who studied the stars and knew where they were in relation to the heavens because there was nothing to distract them from that. I read a fantastic book. It's called How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci, and he says that when he would paint, he would put a blockade between himself and the source of light hitting the canvas so that his shadow would not interfere with the canvas, and he would have all the light needed in order for the picture to reveal itself through him. You know, the paint is guiding the brush as well. The two are connected. And it's not just a one-sided thing. You can say, oh, the paint brush does this. Yeah, but the paint says, well, I do this. And when you start thinking of things that way and thinking of the person across from you as you're a form of energy, just like I am, and with basic, physics, the basic law is for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So here's me as energy, here's you as energy. I go beep and you go boop, and they do not go farther than they originally hit. But when you charge that energy with, okay, now I'm really pissed off, and I go boom, for every action there's an equal, opposite, and in this case, now that it's charged with more energy, a greater reaction from the other side that is doing this with the same energy. So to break that, you say, okay, neutralize it. You all of a sudden transform your own negative energy, which is not coming from this person because you initiated it. It's coming from you, and you say, okay, what would I rather be feeling? Blissful and happy? Let me just forgive myself, apologize to this person right here for being an absolute moron, and then get back to just being happy and say, you know what, I'm so sorry, here's a loving bloop. And guess what? The universe, which is also this other individual, equal and opposite reaction, goes bloop. And so the initial love has to come from the one who feels betrayed, or, you get the idea. So let's see. What are people saying? I have a kind of a weird setup here. It's but work with what you got. We need to understand people beyond their strange, indifferent behaviors and more to what lies deeper in one's inner being and bliss. See, I got the bliss on the 2 exclamation points. That's wonderful. Gotta finish out my day, brother. Share the video so I can watch later. Aloha, Road Dog. Oh, thanks, dude. Let me, I'm gonna try to pronounce your name, but it's Jubal Kane Jones. Let me know if I nailed that. So I think that's my cue. Jubal's gonna be my my stage manager on this one and say that's a wrap. So we're gonna finish this one up. I hope this was fun and enlightening. It'll be posted on my fan page, and I'll send it out to on a group to all the groups. I really appreciate everyone's support. I'm just so stoked by seeing these numbers growing. I've moved on to YouTube. My YouTube channel will be posted on the Thingy thing, like I do. I hope y'all are enjoying the Spotify song or have some way of listening to them, because I always just, either it's the song in the moment or it's just always the right song. But it's, I'm the only person that I know that always makes right turns. All my turns are right turns, because no matter where it puts me in, I've been thrown in the fire so many times. That's how the gold finally, when its dross has been removed, there's no sense in the gold to suffer anymore. It's pure. Now it's been through the fire. So you can throw me in pig shit and I'm gonna come out smelling like roses. Do you use ketchup for that? Or no, that's skunk is tomato sauce. Anyway, have a pleasant evening and aloha.